The F-4 Phantom entered service with the U.S. Navy in 1961 at a cost of just over $2 million per aircraft. It was the most advanced and tactically superior fighter of the Vietnam era. In 2015, the F-35 entered service with the United States Marine Corps, with later variants coming online with the Air Force and the Navy over the next 3 years. At a cost on average of over $120 million, the F-35 is considered the most advanced fighter jet ever built. It's also the most expensive. Even if you adjust 1960s dollars for today, the F-35 still costs 5 times as much as an F-4. But is it worth it? Is the F-35 that much better compared to its adversaries to warrant the huge price tag? That's the question we'll try to answer today. The F-4 Phantom was born out of a need the United States Navy had to upgrade its F-3H Demon, a carrier-based fighter jet. The F-3, although a good all-weather interceptor, did have its limitations, not the least of which was its lack of supersonic capabilities. That was problematic, given that the Soviet MiG-15 had a maximum speed well over Mach 1. Even before the F-3H became fully operational, McDonnell Aircraft began to redesign it. The result was the F-4 Phantom. The F-4 Phantom was operated by the United States Navy, Marine Corps, and Air Force, as well as 10 other nations, 4 of which still operate it today in 2024. It's been called by some historians the greatest fighter jet ever built, one of the most impressive aircraft to ever take flight, and the ace of the United States Air Force, Marine Corps, and Navy during the Vietnam War. Phantoms are extremely versatile, performing multiple roles including air superiority, interceptor, fighter bomber, and reconnaissance. It's this versatility that made it invaluable across the 3 branches of the military who flew it. With a maximum speed of Mach 2.23 or 1,473 miles an hour at 40,000 feet, the F-4 was one of the fastest fighters of all time. Its 2 powerful General Electric J79-GE-15 engines provided 17,000 pounds of thrust each with afterburners. And with a combat range of 423 miles, the F-4 could easily operate effectively over long distances. The F-4 could carry up to 18,650 pounds of weapons on 9 external hardpoints, including various missiles, bombs, and other ordnance. This was twice the normal load of a World War II-era B-17 bomber. Originally designed as a fleet defense interceptor, the F-4 proved highly adaptable to various combat roles, including ground attack, aerial reconnaissance, and surface-to-air missile suppression. The F-4 set numerous world records for in-flight performance, including absolute speed and altitude records. Many of those records stood for decades. And during the Vietnam War, F-4 scored over 100 MiG kills, demonstrating their effectiveness in air-to-air combat and helping the United States to, at times, dominate the skies over Vietnam. The F-4 served over 3 decades in the U.S. military before being retired from active duty in 1996. And as stated earlier, the Phantom is still in service with 4 other countries as of the recording of this video. Between 1958 and 1981, a total of 5,195 F-4 Phantoms were built. At the peak of production, 70 a month rolled off the assembly line. And while it's difficult to ascertain the exact cost of each aircraft, especially given that they were built over the course of 3 decades, we can try to come up with an estimate. In 1965, around the time of its peak production years, each F-4 cost approximately $2.4 million. Adjusted for inflation, that's $22 million in 2024 dollars. That's a total price tag of approximately $114 billion. Now, of course, this is a very rough estimate and does not include the initial cost for research and development, the cost to develop the different variants and upgrades to the F-4 over the 3-decade lifespan with the United States military, or the cost for maintenance and upkeep. But even if we added up all those numbers in an effort to come up with a total cost, we'd only be looking at a few $billions. And given how effective and long-lived the F-4 Phantom proved to be, I'd say that was a pretty good investment. The F-35 Lightning II is widely considered the most advanced fighter jet currently in operation, and it ought to be with a price tag of well over $100 million per unit and a lifetime estimated cost to over $2 trillion, an estimate that has doubled since 2018. In 2001, Lockheed Martin was given the contract to build the next generation multi-role fighter after it beat out Boeing's X-32 design. The competition aimed to develop a single airframe capable of serving multiple branches of the U.S. military and consisting of different variants to meet the needs of each service branch. For instance, the F-35A, built for the Air Force, takes off and lands like any other fixed-wing aircraft. The F-35B, built for the Marine Corps, can take off and land from shortened runways and has the capability for vertical landings, much like the AV-8 Harrier. The Navy's version, the F-35C, is designed to operate from a carrier, has more robust landing gear, a wider wingspan, and a larger internal fuel capacity. And each of the variants has a different price tag. All variants of the F-35 Lightning II stand out for their unparalleled combination of stealth, sensor fusion, and network-centric warfare capabilities. And some of its key features are revolutionary. The F-35 incorporates advanced stealth technology. Its low observable design makes it extremely difficult to detect and track. The Lightning II skin uses radar-absorbing materials to reduce radar reflections, serrated skin panels to further reduce radar returns, and a fiber matte skin that is more durable and requires less maintenance than older stealth coating. The shape of the aircraft is designed to deflect radar waves away from receivers, and the weapons are carried internally rather than along the outside of the fuselage or wings. Its sophisticated array of sensors provide the pilot with a 360-degree view of the battle space. Its radar system is capable of scanning and tracking multiple targets simultaneously, and the aircraft can perform electronic warfare functions like deceiving or jamming enemy radar automatically. The F-35's forward-looking infrared sensor and laser designator can identify and track multiple long-range targets and provide laser guidance for precision weapons. The pilot's helmet integrates night vision, targeting information, and other critical data. There are display sensors on the helmet's visor that allows control of sensors and weapons through eye movements. It's by far the most sophisticated pilot's helmet in the world at a cost of $400,000 per unit. The F-35 utilizes network-centric warfare, meaning it acts as a central node in networked operations, sharing data with other aircraft and ground forces. The aircraft collects, analyzes, and shares data in real time across multiple domains such as air, land, sea, space, and cyber. While not the fastest or maneuverable fighter, the F-35 excels in overall combat effectiveness. It can reach a maximum speed of Mach 1.6 or about 1,200 miles an hour and has a range of 669 nautical miles. Now, neither is overly impressive in and of itself, but the intent of the F-35 isn't just to be fast or able to fly far. It's designed to dominate the battlefield by being versatile and by interconnecting with other fighter aircraft and weapons systems. It's designed to be the cornerstone of 21st century air power. Now, take note that the speed and range specifications are only general characteristics. Of course, each variant has its own specs, which also vary depending on its weapons loads. There can be no arguing that the F-35 Lightning II is the most advanced fighter aircraft ever built. But what about the costs? Is it worth the trillions? Yes, trillions of dollars of projected costs. Currently, the United States plans to purchase 2,456 F-35s through the year 2044. This will make the Lightning II the most widely produced post-Vietnam warfighter class in the Western Hemisphere, with the exception of the F-16 Fighting Falcon. It is expected to be a cornerstone of NATO and U.S. allied air power until 2088. And if true, that would mean its operational lifespan will be over 70 years, double that of the F-4 Phantom. The latest estimate puts the total lifetime cost of the F-35 program at over $2 trillion. $442 billion of that would be the cost to acquire the roughly 2,500 aircraft at an average cost of somewhere in the neighborhood of $120 million each, depending on the variant. The U.S. Air Force estimates that it will cost $6.6 million annually to maintain and operate each of its F-35s. If one just simply looked at the numbers, the F-4 would come out on top. It flies faster, farther, and higher for a heck of a lot less money than does the F-35. And the F-4 has a proven track record. But there is absolutely no question that the F-35 is a far superior aircraft. In a head-to-head matchup, one F-35 is capable of dispatching several F-4s and has the ability to dominate the battlefield. It is for sure a force multiplier. However, we cannot compare the F-4 straight up against the F-35. To do so is simply like comparing apples to oranges. We have to compare each aircraft's significance and impact on their respective era. The F-4 Phantom and the F-35 Lightning were groundbreaking aircraft for their respective eras, but the F-4 Phantom was more revolutionary for its time. The Phantom set multiple world records, including speed and altitude when it entered service. It was considered the most capable aircraft in the world for air-to-air combat and was heavily specialized for the air superiority role with advanced radar and missile systems for its time. The F-4 also proved to be a very versatile and robust platform, able to adapt to various different roles. While the F-35 is undoubtedly more technologically advanced, it hasn't set the same kind of records or demonstrated the same level of dominance in this era. Certainly not as much as the F-4 did when it was introduced. The F-4 was a revolutionary aircraft that significantly outperformed its contemporaries, while the F-35, although highly capable, faces stiffer competition from other modern aircrafts, such as Russia's Su-57. The F-35 has also been plagued by structural and performance issues, software and hardware problems, reliability and safety concerns, as well as cybersecurity vulnerabilities. All of these and more have contributed to the significant projected cost increases. Even if we adjust for inflation, the F-35 costs approximately 5 times as much as a Phantom. The F-4 has already proven itself, while the F-35 Lightning has yet to do so. It may turn out to be a phenomenal success, but it's too early to tell. As we sit here in 2024, I don't see the F-35 having the same bang for the buck that the F-4 had. To me, the costs are simply too steep and there are too many unanswered questions. And just like the F-4 and the F-35, the SR-71 Blackbird was a revolutionary aircraft, even by today's standards. It was in service for almost 30 years, providing real-time reconnaissance over hostile territories all around the world. And it still holds several speed and altitude records to this day. But like all good things, its usefulness came to an end. To learn what happened to this revolutionary aircraft, click the screen now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm Dennis Gill for Revealing History.